This is Red Orb Epilogue Edition. We're going to be going over some extra Chaos Servant clips I didn't use in the main video. Mainly I wanted to go over some of my losses or foul ups and other situations I thought were cool but not quite cohesive enough in the main video. What you see over there by the fog gate is a questing party with two NPC phantoms that are basically about to gank me. Now I'm using the alluring skulls to try to get Cuck and Sorig out of the way, but because of the way the pathing works, if I move too far away and the host follows me, the alluring skull duration will get mitigated pretty quick, and Sorig and Cuck will get pulled right back into the fray, and you'll see I'm throwing the orbs a lot, trying to distract them. Now, these guys could have gone through the gate. Sometimes you'll get summoned in on an invasion and you'll get a team of guys or a goon squad just ready to just draw people in. It doesn't happen too often. These guys had a dried finger going, and I was waiting for another red to come in or another invader, and it never happened, so I decided to just rush them. And they were simply standing there waiting for a good several minutes, so that's how I know they were keen to just have a gang fight. Now I make a lot of mistakes here. This was recorded pretty early after I had made the character, and I was still learning, or relearning I should say, Smoldering Lake as an area. I almost bought the farm right there, oh my goodness. They really put me through the ringer. But I wasn't quite comfortable yet enough to know that you never want to come out here in the big openness of Smoldering Lake with the ballista off, especially if you've got a team of players that have cleared pretty much the whole level. Now I could have tried to lure these guys back into the demon ruins, but experiences told me that they want to fight out here, they're not going to follow me, so I had to just deal with it. Plus everything was dead in there anyway, I didn't show that bit of it, so it would have been kind of fruitless. But I would have had more opportunities for turn and burns and cover, and I also have a great Chaos Fire Orb equipped, as you can see, which is not so great under the circumstances. Now I don't always get hit by the Great Axe and Sorig's Fume Sword, but sometimes, as you'll notice, they're stunning me, and I'm trying to just get some turn and burns going. I failed a couple of pivot backstabs on the Axeman, which you see there. I don't really. Sometimes I think I have it and I don't have it, and he actually gets a backstab on me in a little bit, which ends up ending the invasion. And I do that a little bit too late there. That probably would have been the deciding factor if I had pulled off that guard break. But yeah, never come out here if there's no ballista. Just don't do it. These fellas were kind enough to show me where my souls are going to be when I respawn, so that was nice of them too. Wasn't expecting that kind of kindness, honestly. So this is an interesting one. I have invaded a host that has a buddy and another random summon. Now, in this particular situation, the random summon is none other than Joe Ellington, MD, who's been trying out his new level 60 build. Now, I'm level 50, he's level 60, which means the host is somewhere in between in order to summon him and get invaded by me. And me and Joel were off and on the mic during this session trying to coax a situation where he would either get summoned as a blue, nice toss, or or a white while I was invading, and that's him with the big Lido's hammer. Now, Joellington's build is actually very, very interesting. He has a level 60 character at +6 level range and reinforcement, and he has all his points into strength so he can one-hand the Lido's Great Hammer. Why is that a big deal? Unless you're seeing a password summon buddy this low level, and by low level I mean 50, you're just straight up rarely going to see people rocking the Lido's hammer. And Joel's doing it. It's got a very, very simple build. It's a one-note build. He also has a heavy cestus which he uses. And he's waiting for me over here since we're technically off and on communicado. So he comes right out blazing, knowing exactly what I'm doing because he knows me too well. And he does something really cool right here on me. He runs ahead of me in a little nook, turns, and once you hit someone once with that Lido's hammer, you're going to hit them with the next 2 or 3 hits. So he slays me pretty good. If you want to watch that on his channel, he does it from his point of view with some memes at my expense. Now I showed one of these ladder choke points on the main video. I want to show what happens if you don't do it quite correctly. Now in the main video I was detailing how it's important that you never let a phantom or host get on top of you if you're at this choke point. So I'm using the knives, I'm throwing my Great Chaos Fire Orb, which isn't the ideal spell for this one. I should have had Seething Chaos, but again, this is earlier footage before the ones you saw. And I focus a little bit too long on the host and the other phantom, and I miss my my Fire Orb, and it allows the the password buddy with, what is it, Leto's Great Hammer. Now I'm expecting a plunge, but for some reason he delays it. And I get lucky where I have a moment alone with the host, and it's long enough where the host panics. And these guys do clobber me, but Fair Lady got an ember out of that one, so that was pretty good. So when we were going over the build in Red Orb Menace number 3, I didn't really detail all the pyromancies I was using. I sort of showed them while we were in it, but I didn't really go to a screen like I do normally. So I wanted to just show off all the ones I have equipped with this character, and some of these we didn't use in the video. But a couple of details. Now, Toxic Mist, you might think, is this a chaos spell? It actually is. So is Poison Mist, technically, since Aing Yi, the egg butler, as I used to call him, to the Fair Maiden, it's his spell. He created Toxic Mist, and he developed Poison Mist, but this one was his. So it is a pyromancy of a fire servant, as I see it. Now normally what I do is I'll mask a choke point and use maybe another spell like Floating Chaos, and or maybe Seething Chaos or whatever else I have on. It's a good combo. This level Toxic Mist is still pretty effective. You don't get as many people who have the blooming moss. Even if they do, they may only have a small amount of it. Some people I've seen will rely on the blessings to cure their status, which still works, but they're a pretty rare item, and I don't see too many people panic enough to use one of those when toxic. But it is very, very deadly, so don't sleep on it. It is legitimate. It is a Chaos Servant Pyromancy. So it's Poison Mist, but if you have this one, it's better, so use it. It's better. Okay, Floating Chaos I showed. That was technically a pyromancy of Livid Pyromancer Dunnel, but because it has Chaos in the title, I counted among the Chaos catalog of spells. You might disagree with that, but that's fine. Now, I didn't use these two much at all, if at all, in the video. I actually had some clips with Great Chaos Fire Orb, which is the de facto Chaos Pyromancy, if you ask me. I think a big reason of that is the usage of it was pretty elementary in some of the recordings I took, so I wanted to show off some of the less commonly used pyromancies, especially at this level. But Great Chaos Fire Orb is still dope, okay? Don't sleep on it. It's got that lava bed. It sits there. People, if you hit them, they'll walk through it or they'll get stunned and take more damage. If you could free aim it, it's usually what people do with this one. Just free aim it, do the best you can, do better than that, obviously. But very useful. All Chaos Servants in Dark Souls 1 would have gotten that one, so you should at least have that one ready to go. And then Chaos Bed Vestiges. Now again, like the Dunnel spell, the Fire Orb, the Chaos Orb, this one's got Chaos in the title, so I consider it legitimate. I don't use it very often. I consider this the pyromancy of the enemy. Much like the Fallen Knight armor wearing host with Shield of Want and Arithiel Straight Sword, this is that spell that you just see everywhere. So I try to limit myself to it. I did use it slightly on some of my recordings, but none of the footage was really remarkable, so I didn't keep it. But I do have it. I do use it. It's got deceptive range. I mean, that does look pretty good, but believe it or not, you might prefer to use the Great Chaos Fire Orb for Hail Mary tosses. What makes this dangerous is it's a big ball of fire that goes in a straight line based on what you're locked onto or what you're free aiming. That sounds like a minor detail. It's a huge detail, okay? So don't sleep on it. Try it out. I hate it because everyone uses it. Blue Phantoms use it. White Phantoms with the password summon use it. Hosts use it. Doesn't matter what level you are, you'll see it. So I hate it. I don't use it, but it's good, so you should try it. But straight line, mid-range, very, very useful. Very, very useful at mid-range. And because of its wideness, I guess, it's dangerous for that reason. It takes some time getting used to with the dodges. You can dodge it quite easily if you know the timing. But for a lot of people, they will get clipped by it, thinking they have enough room. You can see right there, I hit the clip of the door frame there, even though I was aiming outward. All the spells I use anyway. You might disagree and think there's some other spells that would classify as a Chaos Servant spell. The Quaylana spells I don't use. They are from tomes that would be akin to learnings of Izalith, perhaps, yes. But I don't consider Quaylana a Chaos Servant. I consider her a Chaos Refugee. And her spells are her own. And they're good spells like Rapport and, what was it, Fire Whip is on there too. And I believe through her you can also learn Firestorm. But I have Great Chaos Firestorm, which I use instead. And again, I don't consider her a legitimate Chaos Servant, which you might think I'm mincing words because I've got the Floating Orb and the Chaos Bed Vestiges, but I feel as if they are manifestations of actual Chaos Pyromancy, whereas Quaylana's spells may have just been teachings of the Daughters of Chaos before, or the Daughters of Izalith, before they became Daughters of Chaos. So I think they're a little bit older in their history as spells, and that's why I make a lore reason not to use them, but they are still good. I don't use Fire Whip often enough in this game. I know it was awesome in some of the older games, but that one, I don't know what the PvP consensus is on Fire Whip. And then Rapport obviously has limited application as an invader. It's better off for a host, but I never see a host use Rapport. I just never see it. So if you're a host out there and you're using it, good for you, but I never see it. Okay, I'm done. Bye.